Hi everyone, welcome back. Here's the first of my videos on simultaneous equations with two equations. So, a lot of things in math are what I call backwards or backward. You don't see the purpose for it until you learn how to use it. So people will go, where am I going to use this in life? By the way, a lot of people will never use it. Truck drivers won't use it. I don't know about electricians. I never thought of that, not heard of them using it before. But as you get further up in maths, it's used in a lot of things to solve situations where it's too complicated otherwise to figure out the answer. So let's have a look at the basics of what's going on. If I've got two equations, I like to still, the method I like, a bit confusing when I call that number one there. Maybe I should call that number one, call that number two, and call that number three, that method. So you don't get confused. I'm going to call that equation number one, equation number two. There's something about circling it that made it stand out, especially when I learnt it years ago. So equation number one, equation number two. Here's the rules. You can add any two equations. You can subtract any two equations. Later on, when it gets more complicated, you can divide and we can do substitution and lots of other things. But for now, we're just going to look at, I could add those two equations. So let's say I had no idea what I was doing, didn't like this topic, but I knew I could just go 1 plus 2. And I was into the, let's try something and see if it works method. So 1x plus a 1x is a 2x. Now here's the annoying part. Y plus minus y. And that's where a lot of people come unstuck on their negative numbers. So it's actually, let's go to red pen, y plus minus y. By the way, when any two signs are right next to each other, if it was two minuses, they become a plus. So it's not 2, it's only the 1. So it stays as a minus. So that's just y, take y, which is 0. So be careful of it. Load your arcane, you hardly need that, but need a reminder of it. That take that is gone. So I could write 0 if I wanted to, but I don't have to. It equals, and 6 plus 2 is 8. So the interesting thing about it is I've eliminated the y. So this method is called the elimination method. Now there might be a few people watching who already also know the substitution method. The trouble with the substitution method is when we get to 3 equations or 4 equations, it doesn't work as well and you actually can't really use it, or it'd be very awkward to use. So let's just stick for the moment just with the elimination method. Now we're back to solving simple equations. Between the 2 and the x's are times. What's the opposite of times to? Divide by 2, and if I divide the left hand side, I divide the right hand side. That's what I refer to as opposites to both sides. The opposite of the times through is a divide by 2. Do it to both sides and I've got the 2's cancel and I get x equals 4. So now once we get the first of the numbers, then we old school we'd write substitute x equals 4 into, and you substitute in either the first equation or the second. I'm still going to write this method because there's some people who still thrive on the organisation of it. Substitute x equals 4 into 1. I didn't even have to say equation 1, I just into 1. So here we go, there's equation 1. Could have substituted into 2, I just picked 1. So I replaced the x by 4, the y still there, and I've got 6. Now how do I get rid of a 4? Opposites to both sides. If I subtract 4 from this side, subtract 4 from that side, this is gone, or 0, and I'm left with y equals 2. And there's my two numbers which I could have guessed, 4 and 2. 4 plus 2 is 6, 4 take 2 is 2. So there's your 4 really long explanation. Second one, oh by the way, if instead of adding I subtracted, I could do the whole question again and go subtract, but this time the x's would be eliminated first, not the y's. So let's have a look at the second question. The x's are the same. Now I talk about same sign. If they're the same sign, subtract. You can go further and go crazy. Same sign, same size, subtract. Same sign, same size, subtract. So this is a 1 and that's a 1. Are they the same size? Are they the same sign? Yes, we can subtract. Don't need to think about the y's. I've looked at the x's and went, I can deal with the x's first. If I call that equation 1 and equation 2, I'm going to subtract, so it's 1, subtract 2. Now, I did at school, I still do it, no I suppose I don't anymore, but I do on higher level questions. I put the subtracts in. I used to pick up my red pen and do it because I made too many stupid mistakes. I still do. So x take x is 0, or 1x take 1x is 0. You don't have to write 0x, you can just say it's gone. Now the tricky one again, 2y minus minus, so the two minuses next to each other become a plus. So that's 2y plus y is 3y. 5 subtract 2 is 3. And you can see that the answer is going to be, now a lot of you will look at that and go 3, what's a 3? It's 1. If you don't see that, you need to go get rid of the 3 to both sides. The 3's cancel and you've got y equals 1. Now by the way, a lot of people will write the answers, I sort of said over here, and they could have written that as 4, 2, because that's the way we write it when we're finding the intersection of two lines, but we'll come back to that later. So now I'm going to go substitute. What am I going to substitute? Substitute y equals 1 into, now I have a choice. I could go back to question 1 or question 2, equation 1 or equation 2 on me. Then you go, which one would I rather? And I go, I'd probably rather this one. Looks like it's a bit easier to manage. So into equation 2, and I'll have x minus 1 equals 2. Then the same problem as always, how do I get rid of minus 1? Add 1 to both sides, and I get x equals 3. Could go back and check. 3 plus 2 lots of 1 is 5. 3 take 1 is 2. So you can write this answer as 3, 1, because there's your x value and there's your y value. So this time, same sign, same size, subtract. They're both addition, but they're different size. They're addition and subtraction, but they're different size. So we've got the problem. This is our first taste of getting it where it's a bit of a problem. This is equation 1, this is equation 2. What am I allowed to do? I can add equations, I can subtract equations, but here's the other thing I can do just by equation rules. I can double anything I want, I can triple anything I want, I can multiply any equation by any number, I can divide any equation by any number. So if I looked at the second equation here, I'm going to write this as a separate thing. I'm going to line that off. I'm going to go 2x plus y equals 7, that's still equation 1. Being fussier, more fiddly than I need to be, but let's do it for a moment. If I got equation number 2 and I doubled it, I multiplied it by 2, that would turn this x here into a 2x. I turn that minus 2 into a minus 4, and I turn the 1 into the 2. And now you can look at the x's and we've got the same size, same sign, so I can subtract. I didn't look at the y's, so we can look at that in further videos. So now I can put in my subtractions, or I can write 1 minus, now some people will just say 1 minus 2 because they're referring to the new equation here, which is now new 2. Some people will write further. Let's have a look at what it is. 2x take 2x is gone, 0, I don't have to write it. Y minus minus 4y, so two minuses next to each other become a plus. So that's a 5y. And the 7 take 2 is 5. And at this stage you can go divide both sides by 5, and we've got y equals 1. Could just say to yourself, 5 what's a 5? Now we go substitute. Now I'm going to abbreviate a little bit. I'm going to just write sub y equals 1. So some people might not want to be that fussy, but they don't want to write nothing. They want to say a little bit of what they did. Sub y equals 1, and I can choose either that one, or I can choose that one. I'm going to choose the top one, because it hasn't got any subtractions. So I've got 2x plus 1 equals 7. So I replace the y by the 1. Now I can go 2x, I'm going to shortcut the process as 6. This is take 1, take 1. Now I can go divide 2, divide 2. And I've got x equals 3. So the answer to it is 3, 1. Well, I hope you found that helpful. If you're enjoying it, please just let your friends know.